Hi, Samantha. Let's see. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yes, I can hear
Yes.
you.
Okay, good. Awesome. And are you okay with recording?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. So we will go live in Facebook. How are you doing? It's good to see you.
Doing well. A little bit of a long day, but good. I'm doing well.
Uh,
Just made
yeah.
this. It's okay.
Yep, right? Yeah. Definitely.
How are you? How are things in your part of the world?
Seattle. Seattle's good. Rainy.
Yeah.
um, but just busy working from home.
Yeah.
So it's just going on and on.
Yeah. You have a pretty active group, it looks like, just from what I've seen over the
Yeah.
last couple months.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, it's so supportive and nice, and we're trying to do everything we can virtually to maintain contact. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard.
yeah, so at least that's been nice. But everything is shut down. We can't do
Is everybody
anything.
like following the rules or
Yeah, I mean, none of our venues are open. Yeah, so there's really nothing, nothing going
yeah.
on.
Yeah, I think that for the rest of the country it's like that too.
Yeah.
Like as far as grocery stores and stuff are people pretty I would imagine Seattle
Oh
is
yeah.
pretty they're good
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, and there's security all over. Like, hey, do you have a mask? And
Wow, really? Good. That must be
yeah.
nice.
Oh,
It's not bad here. It's not bad. Um, when I do venture out, I'm pretty sure everybody has a mask on,
yeah.
but I'm not very far away from, Kansas City is in a weird place where like 20 minutes in any direction, well, I'll say 30 minutes. 30 minutes in any direction, you might end up in the country. Like, sudden, the city just like ends,
Oh
and
my
then
goodness.
you're with the cows and stuff. And it's
Right?
a very different, that's very different than the city. So, if you look at a map of like pretty much like our representatives, our senators, like mask
Yeah.
wearing, like everything is like our little tiny blue square. And then it's just like red everywhere else
Oh no.
for like multiple states. But I'm in the blue though, so
Well, that's good.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I'm just setting up this cast. I love your shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
It's
My pleasure.
rad.
Yeah.
It's our band colors are black and red, so
Oh,
that's
yeah.
awesome. All right. Yay, share to a group. Here we go.
Will it just be you and I on this call?
So people might jump in, but it'll be live on in the Facebook group. So,
Okay.
um,
Very
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
I saw you had not Leslie. Yes,
yes,
Leslie. Yes,
yes,
Leslie. Earlier today, right?
Leslie. Yeah,
This
she was
morning?
great. We got to talk about women in audio and her book, and yeah, the research that went
Women
into
in
the
audio?
book,
Yeah.
and oh my goodness,
Yeah.
and that was just incredible.
Yeah.
So,
Writing a book is no joke. So
no, but yeah, she was. It was casual and just really fun and awesome to learn. But thank
good.
you so much for being here,
Oh, of course. It's my
Samantha
pleasure.
Potter,
Yes,
install
thank you for
Empress of
reaching out.
Allen and Heath.
Yeah, I like made that. Our head of marketing here for Allen Heath USA. His name's Jeff Hawley. He just like has marketing maestro as his, and I thought that was so funny. And originally when I joined the team, my title like didn't really describe what my job was anyway. So I was like, "Oh, let's do something fun." So I picked Install Empress, and even though my title is much more appropriate now, I still like Install Empress. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
still on my social media. It still says that.
Yeah, why would you go with anything other than install Empress? That's great.
Right, right.
So, first off, how did you get into audio?
Um, Goodness. So I grew up as a musician and did lots of that growing up. Classically trained, I did violin, cello, upright bass. I did jazz, theory, all that good stuff growing up. And that was
Yeah.
lots of fun. And when I started to get into my like teenage years, I started to get really into technology and computers. It was also the development of the internet as we know it now started at that point. And so
Sure.
I was very interested in that. And so at a certain point in every musician's life, well, not every musician's, but a lot of musicians' lives,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I'm probably not going to make a ton of money doing this, but how can I keep music in my life and have it
Sure.
be a part of my career? So I think I was searching for, uh, you know, audio something, you come across the words audio engineer, and then you just start poking and prodding, and eventually I discovered kind of studio work.
Yeah.
And I was in a band at the time. We went and toured a studio to possibly book some time,
Hmm.
and I saw that the studio owner had a book for audio engineering programs or something on his desk. And he and I started talking, and
Yeah.
eventually he took me under his wing and for about a year and like taught me all of the basics and
Wow.
stuff like that.
Okay.
So my foundation is in music and recording, but it was
Nice.
a couple years later I kind of uh, gave live sound a go, and I ended up falling in love with it. I just There's something,
Awesome.
yeah, I still respect and appreciate the recording stuff,
Sure.
but
Of
it
course.
became kind of I didn't agree with the pursuit of perfection because there wasn't really an excuse to not get that.
Right.
But in life sound, it's like you just try your hardest, and if you're lucky, nothing will go wrong.
Right.
And I kind of like the adrenaline, and I can work off of that. And I just kind
Oh,
of
good.
fell in love with it, and now it's been a few years,
That's
maybe like
amazing.
7 or 8 years. So
Wow. Okay. I love that because I was talking about this earlier that the first woman I saw doing live sound was last year.
your first ever,
My first
like
ever like
real
even
life.
being on stage and I it just, it didn't hit me I think until that moment that all of our sound engineers had been sound guys.
Dudes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And so it really hit me last year just
Mm-hmm.
kind of especially thinking about the disparity and in
Yeah.
this industry like wow this is a real problem that I didn't even think about it until I had to see it
Yeah,
basically.
it's interesting how many societal kind of problems, I guess, per se, aren't really problems until somebody shows us
Right.
that it is a problem. Like,
Right.
it's just kind of the norm until, like you saw somebody and it was like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing this. That's
Right.
wrong.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's such a reminder that representation matters, and
Yes.
we need to be able to see things so that we know that that's a path
Hmm.
that is available.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Period.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
I think your events you're doing and other organizations are really, really important because it is you can't it's not you can't it's hard to be what you don't even realize is a possibility.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly. So, how did you get started with Allen and Heath then?
so Shoo. All right, that may be even a longer story, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I have on my Allen and Heath shirt now,
Which is very
but
cool.
also I have a T-shirt version of this as well. I may have to send you one. Uh,
Oh.
um, as In addition to my stuff with Allen and Heath,
Hmm.
so I'm the Install Empress at Allen and Heath USA,
Yeah.
um, and my official title is manager of commercial audio. So I oversee and kind of manage all of the commercial and install audio for Allen Heath in the US market.
Mm-hmm.
So alongside that, I'm also an editorial director for ProSound Web, and
Yay, that's
a
great.
director and an educator with Churchtown University, which is a
Mm-hmm.
program explicitly designed, a couple of us designed it, 2 or 3 of us designed it to teach the House of Worship market about audio engineering as a whole.
Right.
And so that's a whole thing. So to get to the crux of your question, I've been doing this teaching thing and this writing thing for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Allen and Heath has been an advertiser with ProSound Web for many years, great supporters. And when they heard that we were doing Churchtown University, they wanted to like get involved from the ground floor. And so
Awesome.
between them being exposed to my teachings and my writings that way, but then
Right.
also all of my social media experience and my previous work for the last 6 or 7 years, they kind of, they wanted to bring me on as somebody who had a large variation of backgrounds,
Yeah.
who could kind of approach the position less from a manufacturing standpoint, because my background is not in it from a manufacturer, but
Sure.
from this like being on the ground and teaching and knowing how to talk with people
Mm-hmm.
kind of scenario. So they asked me to join on last year, and I officially joined in August. Yes, the middle of August 2020.
Yay. Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Very, very cool. So can I ask what mic you're using?
Yeah. So this is the new Earthworks mic. I should really have the name prepared if I'm going to use it. But here, hold on. Let me make sure, because they're good people.
Yeah, I mean, you sound great, so I just
Thank you.
wanted to ask.
Okay, yeah, it's an Icon, Earthworks Icon. It's the Pro version for broadcast. They have a USB out and an XLR out.
Oh, nice.
I kind of like, I got the broadcast one with the XLR out, and I'm kind of wishing I had gotten the USB version just for simplicity's sake, because right now, so this is how I have this mic set up right now.
Yeah.
When I'm doing my podcast, I'm just using my Scarlett interface like a normal human being.
Right.
When I do this video stuff in this kind of weird setup, it's running into right now my Avantis, and then my Avantis is outputting it into my ATEM my Blackmagic ATEM Mini, and then that's plugged in with USB into my computer. So it's a couple extra steps, but it's the best way to get it in. So
Okay. That's it. Just sounds great. Yeah, USB is. Oh, I love the USB option for
I've like
simplicity's
always
sake.
kind of been like, I don't know, that's not very pro. And now I'm just like, I'm very comfortably into my career, and it's like, I really don't think it would matter. This is about sheer convenience at this
Right.
point. So I
Totally.
have to send them an email or something. But
Nice.
yeah, the Earthworks people are super nice. I met them actually at NAMM last year, so almost a year ago.
Cool.
And they were just great people. So
That's
they
awesome.
let me know when they were doing this mic, and I was like, I need to try that. So here we are.
Awesome. So what gear are you working with back there? I can see some stuff.
Okay, behind me, there's so much gear here. Okay, so let me go through a couple of these. So I have my Avantis set up. And then I have a PC. This is like, you're looking at it from a weird angle. So over here is my PC that I kind of do PC related work, but also it's like my video stuff. And then I have my ATEM Mini down here. You can kind of see the lights.
Yeah.
Back over here is my Dlife Cti 1500. And then I'll come back to me. And then over to my left, I have an SQ5. And then behind me, let's see here, I have 2 MacBook Pros. One is a 2015 because I wanted to keep all of my ports, and it's like running barely on Sierra or something. Maybe even like before that, it's running Pro Tools 10 or 11, so it's like barely functioning. But I love it, so it's there. A newer MacBook Pro, and then I just have a huge honkin' like curved screen back behind me so that I can see more without like hurting my eyes so much.
Sure.
And and then I have I have like iPads and other doodads I have so much
Nice.
stuff here. It's not even funny.
That's so
Uh,
cool.
it's fun. It's like
Yeah.
Christmas a lot here.
Ah, so awesome. So is a lot of your work now virtual?
Uh, yes.
Mhm.
Sorry, I got my flavored water.
Nice.
Yes, it is virtual.
Hmm.
To a certain extent, it kind of, I think it a portion of it always will now.
Sure.
Because I'm a remote worker with Allen Heath, and I'm a remote worker with
Hmm.
ProSound Web. So
Hmm.
I don't
Hmm.
actually work in I live in Kansas City,
Hmm.
but none of my work is actually here anymore. So um, the headquarters, as it were, for American Music and Sound, who is the
Hmm.
distributor for Allen and Heath here in
Hmm.
the U.S. They're in California, I think,
Hmm.
and the ProSound Web stuff is in Massachusetts.
Okay.
So I'm always going to be kind of working remotely,
Got
but
it.
as it currently stands, um, yeah, I'm doing like demos virtually. I do
Nice.
teaching virtually. I've been producing a lot of videos for like
Awesome.
Church and University,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But I'm very anxious to start traveling again. I don't want to do it too
Yes.
soon, but I miss people really badly, and it gets a little lonely here in the suburbs
Right?
sometimes.
Me
But
too.
I'm ready to go out and meet people, and
Awesome.
yeah, I'm just ready.
Yes, so many people are. Well, Pro Sound Web is such a great resource, and I'll link to it in the group as well. And then, how can we find your videos?
It depends. So some of my videos are like just through Church Sound University, and I think if you go to
Okay.
churchsoundu.com, it will take you there. We
Okay.
have a couple of programs, and our goal is to come out with new curriculum every month or
Nice.
every 2 months.
That's great.
We also pushed out some videos on YouTube. I did one on phase and polarity. I did one on
Nice. Oh, phase.
yeah, phase and polarity. I mean, we could just talk about phase and polarity through this whole thing if you wanted. I'm
Maybe a
quite
little.
passionate about it. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I'm a drummer, so I'm trying to, get my drums in phase as well.
yeah.
Like
Oh
as
yeah.
we track and
Yep.
phase.
Yes. I also did one on some like different kinds of effects. I have like an SQ 5 set up, and I did a couple of examples of like using chorus to thicken vocals, or using delay to do stuff. I
Hmm.
think I have 3 videos under the
Okay.
Person Webs
Awesome.
thing, but yeah.
Very, very cool. So, can you talk a little bit about Allen and Heath as far USA as far as we started talking. I was so excited to see your demos, and because a few of the other companies, named companies, there
Oh
were
yes.
no women doing demos of consoles. And when I
Yeah.
contacted the companies, the answer was we just don't have women on staff, which
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
was, not should not be the end of the conversation,
Right.
but it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. No. Hi, Juliet. It's nice to meet you. I saw you pop in and out. Uh, yeah. Yeah. I've noticed that as well. It does not. I'm not completely naive. I do. I'm the only woman on my team,
Hmm.
albeit we're kind of a small team. And I can only think of one other person off. I mean, excuse me for missing anybody, but I only know of one other person who is in a similar role, like that's not marketing, is like a technical role like this. I
Hmm.
think is maybe Digico. I
Okay.
think she's pretty new. But yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot. And
Right.
so uh, I've I recognize that, and
Hmm.
I try to be. I guess in a way it is a bit of my cross to bear, but I try to be a good example just for
Yeah.
these for women, but also people like under 35,
Yeah.
who there's a big age gap between kind of the newcomers, so people who are like less than 35,
Yep.
and the mass majority of the industry is like over
Yes.
50.
Right.
Uh, and so it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit I'm young. It's a little bit I'm a woman. So But
Yeah,
I'm every age I'm getting older. Every year I'm getting older rather, and so that's seemingly is going away a little bit. But
that's good.
yeah,
Well, I mean, and regardless of gender, you're an amazing engineer, you know, in your own right. But I do want to say that it was really inspiring to me in the group. So to
thank you.
see you.
I
So
appreciate that.
yeah.
That's weird to think about. I like my first instinct is to be like, no, I'm not. It's fine. Like everything's fine. It's to totally play it off. But yeah, I'm gonna stand here and recognize there's not a lot of us. So
Mhm.
I guess if I can take this step forward for anybody else, amazing. Like this is totally a job opportunity that other people can have. Like you can work
Nice.
like audio engineering is already people don't know that this is a field you can get into,
Hmm.
and then they don't even realize all the different like facets of it,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
film and broadcast, streaming,
Hmm.
like live sound recording, uh,
Yeah.
movies and film, composing, sound design, like
Right.
Foley. There's so many different things you could be do RF stuff. You could just do monitors, and
Mhm.
like this is another thing. Like oh hey, like you can totally just work for manufacturers and like help people get better at products and help design products and like do a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it's like hey,
That's
if you want
amazing.
to do whatever you want to do related to audio, I assure you there's a job for it someplace.
That's so nice to hear. So before we get to some demo, which I would love to see, do you
Yeah.
have any kind of favorite pieces of gear that you find yourself like
Mm.
always going back to, an interface or a mic or
Mm-hmm.
something like that?
Well, I can talk about some of the stuff I've just been using for
Mhm.
forever. Like I've
Yeah.
just had it and it's been solid. So earlier I mentioned that I have a Scarlett back here. I have a Focusrite Scarlett 6i6,
Mhm.
like the first generation, and it is just I mean rock solid. The
Mhm.
interface on the computer can be a little weird sometimes, but
Yeah.
the hardware has never failed. It's always been great. I've had it since um, it was my second interface I ever got. The first one was given to me by that studio owner, and it was like it was a long time ago. It was very old, but I've had this for like probably 7 years now. It's still
Wow.
going great. Still love it to death. If it ever dies, when it dies, I will probably replace it with just a newer version of it, a
Okay.
third generation or something. Um, and then over here on the ground, where it Mike's should not be, but it is right now,
Oh yeah.
is this like um, MXL V67G.
Ooh.
It's on my arm that
Oh,
I took off my desk
pretty.
temporarily. Um, I love this mic. I use it for
Oh,
everything.
that's
And it's
nice.
green and gold, so it just like really sticks out in a good way. Uh,
Nice. That's beautiful.
uh, it's a good mic. I've had it for a while.
Nice.
Um, let's see some other goodies. Currently, well, let me not even say currently. I've really been enjoying the Avantis the last few months because I've
Hmm.
gotten so
Nice.
much runtime on it. But then we also just came out with the Dlife Cti 1500, which is this like super light, tiny version of the Dlive, which is our flagship series, and it weighs like nothing.
Oh,
They
cool.
designed it so basically you get all of the Dlive horsepower.
Hmm.
Um, that you can basically it's with its flight case weighs less than 50 pounds, so it can be a carry-on luggage item onto a plane. And so I'm just enjoying the lightness, not like I'm moving it a ton, but even
Hmm.
compared to like smaller footprinted boards, like this thing's really light. And so
Okay. That's
I'm enjoying
awesome.
that. I know I have the ampersand on my shirt, but
Hmm.
genuinely I really really enjoy what Allen Heath has done,
Hmm.
developed before I joined on.
Sure, of
So
course.
uh, yeah, what else do I like? What else is some of my favorite stuff? I have a I use Sony wireless headphones, if anybody cares.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes.
They've been good to me. I've had this for less than a year, but you
Nice.
just gotta have a good pair of wireless headphones, like over
Okay.
the ear cups, like how you've got on. I wanted
Nice.
them to be wireless, so for traveling, I can not be contained by anything.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I had a lot of travel slated for 2020, and as soon as the country opens back up, it will be at least that, if not more, now that I've got this new job. But
Yeah.
anyhow, several pieces that
Nice.
I've loved over the years, and I've used a lot. I also have a Shure PSM 300, this
Hmm.
little wireless rack unit
Nice.
that I keep when I was with a funk and R&B band locally. I
Cool.
had this little wireless in-ears unit, nothing
Hmm.
too fancy, but
Nice. That's
it
great.
allowed me to be able to solo stuff on an
Hmm.
iPad app
Nice. Yeah.
and monitor their in-ears while I was walking around
Awesome.
mixing. And so
Oh, that's so
it's
cool.
it's perfect for just that kind of weird little thing. So
Hmm. Awesome. Do you have any story memory that sticks out for doing live sound when you were first beginning
oh gosh.
that kind of
Uh
sticks with you as either a challenge or one of the best moments?
hmm. Um okay. Let's see. I got a couple on either side.
Ooh,
So um I'll share the like a really big whoopsie that happened, but
nice.
it wasn't my fault. Just to like preface this, it was not my fault. um, and then I'll do like a fun one. So
Cool.
the one that was like, oh my goodness, and I've told this on my podcast as well, is that so I used to be with a funk and R&B band,
Hmm.
and we would travel all over all over the area, and we went down to Oklahoma for a New Year's Eve gig, and this casino had just built this brand new venue. They wanted us to like christen it, I guess. And so we went down, we set up, we had sound check. It was great. This band at the time and still runs on this ancient Yamaha ONV 96, which was like it had to have been darn near the first digital board um, that was ever made. I mean, it was just it was a workhorse for what it was. They're still using it, but we have that set up that runs their ears and front of house, and I fed it into my left right feed into their system, which was funnily enough, I think it was a Q series board from Allen and Heath, Q32, I believe, and it sat like on a table like way off to the side. So we did sound check, everything was great, the PA sounded fine, their system was lovely, it was very digital,
Uh-oh.
and that's all great. So then we leave, we get dressed, we have dinner, we come back, I'm playing house music through our system, like into theirs, of course, and then it's comes the like count, like the count in, and that's always the most exciting and like that's the worst and the best part. If I don't feel slightly sick, by the way, before a gig, like
Hmm.
I'm not in a good place. So you should always have that little bit of anxiety.
I like
So
that.
here comes the drum clicks, and in the band goes, except nothing's coming out of the PA. The
Oh
band
no.
continues to go because they can hear themselves.
Oh.
So their ears are running. They go through literally the entire song, except everybody in the crowd is just like, I mean, just standing and staring with a blank face because they don't, I mean, they're not hearing anything.
Oh.
It's just the silent, it's just all you can really hear is the drums in the room and like very muffled vocals, and it's like immediately like, oh my god, and so you like have to flip this switch in your mind and like,
Yeah.
oh my god, okay, what's going on, like
Mhm.
I run up, they're still playing, so I was like, I don't think it's from us, like I have my left right is unmuted, I'm seeing activity on the main bus,
Yeah.
we had it earlier, things are plugged in, everything
Mhm.
is seated right, but again they're able to hear, so it must be your system, so we go
Mhm.
over and we're like, oh my god, what is this, in the meantime, this is probably only over a couple of minutes, but it felt
Sure.
like an eternity sort of thing. um, the band finishes a song and it's just kind of like,
Oh no.
yeah. And eventually we figure out that the lighting person of all people, of course, right before we started, like shuffled in between my board and his like backside hit the
Oh.
cable coming out of it. and disconnected like
Oh my
the
God.
feed from their Q32 into their system. And so it was just one of those things like, I'm glad it was such an easy fix and all we had to do
Yeah.
was like reseat it.
Hmm.
But what a fun couple of minutes that
Yeah, that's
aged me.
horrifying.
But just an 8-person band and like several hundred people in a room. I mean, it's
Wow.
whatever, like it's fine. But
Um,
that's one that was a big, oh my gosh, what's
oh, that's
happening.
crazy.
um feel like I've had lots of good ones. I remember my
Sure.
first live sound like gig period was
Mhm.
actually a festival, and it was a jazz festival.
Nice.
In we have a big jazz history here in Kansas City, and it
Yeah.
was in our historic Gem Theater, and it
Wow.
had maybe like 30 or 35 like student jazz bands over the course of several days, and an old, again, super weird, it was an old analog Allen and Heath like GLD 3000
Cool.
or something like that. I'd have to look it up, but a really old analog board, and the system, like, I mean, like patch bays, it was so classic. And sort of just like having to walk in with the, I know what I'm doing, I'm not concerned about anything at all, even though I had literally never done this before.
Oh, oh my gosh.
But
No
it was
way.
great, it was totally fine. Like, I was very familiar with jazz styling anyway, so
Sure.
that helped. And yeah, it
That's
was
great.
really a bake it till you make it kind of situation. And if it weren't for COVID, this 2020 would have been my fifth year doing it, in a like fifth or sixth year doing it.
Oh,
So
nice. That's
I still
great.
do it for them, and it's just so much fun
Hmm.
because it's so different. I like doing jazz festivals. So
Yeah. Oh, I love jazz. That would be amazing. Very cool. Well, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to mute myself. And if you want to
oh Lord,
talk about the board and the setup, and we can get into,
yeah,
yeah, seeing what's
okay.
going
Looks
on.
like we have a chat, so let me check this. Hi, oh hi, okay, Julie responding to me. Hi, and hi, Ryan's iPhone.
And there are people, we're live on Facebook now. So
Yes,
there are
so
people checking
hello,
in.
Facebook people. Alrighty, so um, I'll talk about Avantis because that's kind of where the cameras are set up. Um, for those that are unfamiliar with the Allen and Heath line, so in we Allen and Heath makes digital consoles among other things. Since I came on board, my real baby has been a matrix processor called the AHM64, and that's basically like a 64 input, 64 output kind of central processing unit that you can use between consoles or between consoles and PAs, or to do really huge configurations of classrooms or highly configurable spaces like venues, perhaps like hotels or breakout rooms. I mean, all sorts of stuff like that. So while I've been on, that has been kind of my little thingy. But Allen and Heath as a whole has a line of analog mixers called the Z series. There's like 4 different kinds of that. I highly recommend checking them out. We're also going to be at NAMM, at Virtual NAMM, which is next week. It's free to attend. And if you really want to hear me talking more, I will be there presenting. So,
Oh, yay.
and some of my CSU videos for ProSound Web will also be there. You can't escape me. I'm everywhere.
I have to jump in because the Believe in Music week
Mm-hmm.
starts, and I'm just putting my schedule together now.
Yes.
So that's exciting. But the first actual analog, um, mixing with board that I saw was Allen and Heath, the small mix wizard, the 16
Yeah.
channel,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and so it was not USB or anything, and this
Nope.
was we were borrowing it, to kind of put together our DIY setup here at home
Mm-hmm.
to record the band, and I was just looking at it like, okay, I need to go and learn some basics here. What is
Yeah.
step one?
That board
Yeah.
was
Oh,
scary, I'll tell you right now.
Ryan was in on it.
That's funny.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
Allen and Heath, it was but so fun to really, learn the basics with this board. So
Oh yeah, I think learning on analog is akin to learning on a stick shift. Like if you really want to understand driving, like if you really want to understand audio, analog is a great place to start because all of the digital is a derivative of the analog stuff. So, um,
Nice.
Learn one, learn all. Okay, so we have all those analog, the Z series. And then in the digital console world, we have QU series. It's pronounced Q. Lots of people in the Americas like to say QU, but since I joined the team, it is pronounced Q. They have several different kinds of boards. Those are our like very popular. They're like our most affordable digital console. And then a step up from that is we have our SQ series, which people have, especially the House of Worship and install market, have really been falling in love with lately, as I've noticed on like the Facebook groups and places like that. Is again like a step higher. You're able to do, there's a lot more processing power, a lot more configurability, as in you can change how the board functions fundamentally more. And so that's in the SQ5, SQ6, and SQ7. And then we had for a really long time our like Dlife, which is our flagship series. That's like our tour grade, you know, A-list sort of consoles, like huge amounts of horsepower, huge amounts of processing. And there was this like gap between the SQs and the Dlifes. And so I believe it's been a little over a year now, Allen Heath developed this kind of in between board, and it's called the Avantis. Some people say Avantis, some people say Avantis. They're both correct. It's either direction. But the Avantis sits, I mean, really, really comfortably between the SQ and the Dlife. So it's like when you need more than, 48 processing channels from the SQ, you need more than that, but you don't quite need 128 either. Then we have the Avantis, which is the 64 channels of processing power and 42 buses. So something that Allen and Heath kind of does a little bit differently is that rather than just saying we have 42 outputs, which is true and also kind of not true at the same time, we say that we have bus configuration. So that means if you want more auxiliary channels, or you want more subgroups, or you want more physical outputs, or you want more of whatever, you can change how the console actually does that, and it does it from the SQ series up. So depending on your needs, maybe I want more FX engines, or maybe I want lots and lots of subgroups. I can program the board to do that. And part of the reason we can do that is because we use what's called FPGA technology. So rather than running off of like a computer-based operating system, these are all run, or like an Intel chip or anything like that, we're running off of an FPGA that we've designed, and it runs at 96K, which is really important for latency purposes. For those of you that are familiar with sample rates and how those function, 48 kilohertz is a very popular sampling rate. Doubling that, 96 kilohertz, means that we can process twice the amount of frequencies in the same amount of time, thus making the console literally twice as fast. So with things like in-ears, that matters a lot. That means, our consoles run at less than a millisecond, and that's huge. That also means that, again, we're great for in-ears when those fractions of milliseconds matter. Like, that's what you need. Our consoles are also, especially the Avantis and Dlifes and the SQ, are all, I think the phrase that we've used is mixed coherent or phase coherent. And so what happens with a lot of consoles is that you start piling on the processing and you start doing a lot. It actually changes how your mix aligns and how they get summed together. Allen Heath said, yeah, we're going to not do that. And so now whenever you process anything, everything stays in time alignment. And, you and I were kind of mentioning like phase and polarity earlier. When things start getting out of phase, things can get like really gross without you even realizing it. And with this, that everything, even if you're doing extra processing, it's all staying in line. So that's great.
Amazing. That's so great to hear.
Yeah. Some consoles and some manufacturers, they'll either tell you like what the latency is, or you have to keep track of it. And we're not about that. So we don't do that, which I appreciate, because like I'm relatively lazy, I guess, and I would just prefer to think about other things. Also with the Avantis explicitly, this is I think the Avantis for such a long time was my favorite, until I just got the new shiny toy, but I'm sure I'll go back. But something that's great is that people like me who have grown up, and you as well. I don't know how old you are, but I don't think we're very far from each other age wise. But we grew up in a world with like the internet, and touchscreens are very easy for us.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to think about it or try. It's like we can just do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's great about the Avantis, is because we have two like 15.6-inch like high def touchscreens that feel really close to the closest to an iPad I've used on a console, because I think Apple really nailed it, like with their touch sensitivity and everything on iPads. It feels so natural, and I get that from these touchscreens as well.
Wow.
So if I like, let me make sure I can view myself okay. So if I switch over here, and I got these two big old, I'll move my mic over a hair here. So, I mean, here's my hand for scale. But I can get lots and lots of things on the screen at any given time, and they run completely independently. So whatever I'm doing on one screen, I can do something different on another. So right now it's set up the very European way, which is inputs on the left-hand side and outputs on the right-hand side. And I genuinely kind of like to run that way anyway. But let's say, okay, so I've got my inputs over here. I have my voiceover mic is this one single channel over here. Maybe I want to be working on a multi-band compressor, which is this. It's part of our D-Pack. We have a dynamic equalizer and multi-band compressor in one little kind of input here. And so I can be doing this over here, and over here I can be either looking at all of my meters if I want, or I could be looking at, go over here, or I could be working on the EQ for one of my auxiliaries, or I can have them be showing the same thing. I can really just throw anything I want any place. And that's great for at least my workflow, because I like to have my eye on something over here while I'm doing something this way. So something that I did with Allen Heath early on was we did this quick mix challenge, which is also a video that they can watch. I forgot about that, where we had 15 minutes to mix a show, basically. If we had a couple songs, and if we were lucky, a sound check, but all we had was a show file, we sort of haggled together. Right. What would it look like? And so this was great for that, because then I could be keeping my eye on something and really prioritize what I wanted to look at. And I love that. And I love that it's using what we call continuity UI, which means that everything extends between the screen and the buttons. When we have less dedicated knobs, that means we have a lot more opportunities on screen. And between that and our FPGA, it means we can change the entirety of how the Avantis works with a firmware update. Like, our technology doesn't, doesn't get out of date as quickly, because we're not dependent on any particular thing. So we have these knobs that you can change what they do. We also have these customizable knobs on each side, where you can say, okay, well, I want this to, I think I have it programmed. Like right now, and let me flip back over. If I click on it or hit view, it'll show I'm adjusting my high pass filter for my selected channel. It'll adjust my compression threshold on that selected channel, as well as my gate threshold. But I could kind of program them to see how I needed them. Nice. And also something I've enjoyed is if I go over here into setup, it's as easy as literally just clicking and dragging something, and I can get exactly what I want. So maybe I want inputs, or maybe I want some effects. I can maybe look at my mixes, and let me hop over to where you hide that. There we go. This is my kind of config page, where I can pick how many groups I want, how many effects I want, how many auxiliaries I want, how many matrices I may need, and how many PAFL, the basically pre-fader or after fader level, how many different buses of those I want. So on this particular scene I'm using lots of effects and lots of groups, because this was a derivative of my quick mix session. And with that, I didn't need auxiliary, like for what? Nobody was listening to it. But I wanted to go like whole hog on my subgroups for group processing and my effects, so I could use as many as had time to use. So that's where I can change that bus configuration. Anyways, it's easy for me to like jump around and get excited about that.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm gonna go over here back so you can see me for a second.
Yeah.
Yes, I love being able to kind of jump around. It just feels very natural to me. And the ability to kind of change all those bus configurations, the fact that I can have multiple expansion ports as well. So on the console on the back, there are 2 like card ports, and I can get different cards to put in them depending on what I need. So it might be a Dante card or a Wave Sound Grid card, or maybe I wanted to do Maddie or one of our kind of proprietary ones like Gigace to connect more consoles together.
Nice.
I could do AES3 if I wanted. Like we make lots of different kinds of cards that I can put on there for extra stuff if I needed to. And that's all part of kind of the Allen Heath ecosystem, which is we try to like make things as easy as possible, like as plug and play as we can possibly get, because trying to set things up and get things running can be really tedious and really time consuming. And so the more that we can just like literally plug things in and get to going, the better. So like for instance, on all of our consoles, if you plug in our like IO boxes or expansions or any control surfaces, like our IP controllers, they do automatic firmware matching. So you never have to worry if something I just plugged in is going to actually function with it.
Right.
Like the console says, hey, what firmware are you? Oop, that's not right. And then it moves either up or down to match the console.
Wow.
Blam. Nice and easy. And that's what I prefer. So between like we got all this, we have, I mean, this is, I don't want this to be a sales pitch or anything, but it just, I joined the team. I joined Allen Heath because I love the products and I love what they're doing, and getting to see all of this like back end stuff has been really fun, and learning what that means and how their design process works. But they've put a lot of thought into making things easy, plug and play, and working well with others. I mean, it's hard to complain, particularly from a technical aspect. So
yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and your enthusiasm shows, and it's infectious, and I love that they're actually trying to make it easier.
Yeah, I think sometimes we get caught up in the like, ooh, this is so nice. Oh, it's much too hard for you. You would never understand. And like, okay, I get that kind of job security and whatnot, but I prefer consoles that I don't have to think too hard to use. If like there's not a lot of menus hidden like on here. Like when I click on this, everything I need is in one of these tabs, and I don't have to worry about anything else. I don't have to go through 600 freaking menus to find any particular thing, because that drives me nuts. Like, if I have to spend more than like 10 seconds looking for something, it's a frustration. So, yeah.
For sure. Can you go over the layout of the board and just like, what's where? And
absolutely. So, let me wet my whistle. Alrighty. So, I can just kind of like start going through stuff if that's okay with you. I guess we'll kind of let's start with the big console as a whole. So again, over here we have kind of by default we have all the inputs on the left and the outputs on the right, but we can change that if we'd like. We have mutes, our mix buttons, and our paddle buttons. The only thing about this console that took me more than like a couple of minutes to get used to, it literally took me maybe 10 minutes of use to get used to. There's not a select button, and that's like weird. That's weird. Coming from an engineer standpoint, it's like you're used to like clicking select on the channel you want to change, but on here it's a mix button. But when you want to select the channel, you literally just like you touch and it lights up.
Cool.
If I go over here, I can sit here and highlight things as I need them. Also, as my hand is touching things, it lights up and tells me which ones I'm touching or which faders. So it's just
cool.
a way for me to know what my hand is on without actually having to move my eyes, because again, we're all just lazy people. So we've got that, and we have lots of user soft keys, like 24 of them, which we can program to do, good Lord, anything at all. But again, everything was for the sake of simplicity and ease of use. So we have, 16 faders. I mean, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, pardon me, 12 on each side. And we have, I've assigned my main over here.
Nice.
I've got, I can change what these knobs do by these center buttons. And I know you guys can't really see those with my 2 views right now, but this is gain, and then I can do pan, and I can do sends. And you can see how the lights on these knobs kind of change a little bit as I'm selecting them.
Very cool.
But I can change, usually gain. Sometimes once I'm done setting up all the gain, I'll change it to pan so I can quickly do that, and all that good stuff. So something that also is like kind of lame, but something that it's not lame in the processing, but like it makes me lame because I like it, is this, like, so we have a copy, paste, and reset. It's these, there's 3 buttons right here. And so if I hold reset, I can reset, I'll even flip it over here. It can say, I can reset any of these blocks. Like, do I just want to reset the parametric? Do I just want to do all of the processing? I can do just the preamp, or I can copy each one of these, and it tells me, hey, do you want to copy the parametric or the high pass and low pass filter? And I can easily paste it into whatever channel I want. And it says up here, it says paste to let me know, hey, you are holding the paste button. So when you go around clicking things, FYI, you're going to do it. So I have my, let's go find where that's at. All right, so this is my voiceover channel that I've made for my talking right now. So if I hit copy, actually, let's turn on my high pass filter, and let's change the frequency to something ridiculous.
Oh, wow, cool. Yeah.
I won't do quite so extreme. So, okay, I'm done with that. I'm going to hold copy right here, copy. And I'm going to copy my low and high pass filter. It tells me at the top, I've copied that. And then I can hold paste, and then I can just do boop, 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 boop,
Nice.
boop, and then let go. And now all of the EQs change. And so it's nice and easy. I don't want to work too hard on this. All right, let's do doop, doop, doop. All right, let's go back to what it was, and I'll actually reset this. I didn't need it. All right, there we go. So again, everything about the physical buttons here on the console is to aid in what we're doing on screen. So that way we still have all the physical things that we want, like, you know, our hands on the faders themselves.
Nice.
But giving us the opportunity to not have to work quite so hard on all the processing. So, all right, so we can just go down over here on the menu. So first we've got bank, which is just our bank of channels. You know, there's not too much to think about. This is what we've selected to be on this layer. Then we've got processing, and I'll just select my little bass channel I have here. So first up is the preamp. And so this is where I can do like a really quick patching of just this one insert if I wanted. I could go to our huge patch bay and do like a massive one, but sometimes you just need to change one channel. We've also got our polarity, our trim, and I also have a preamp module in here. And so I can do a tube stage, or I could have none. I could just do the, you know, quote unquote stock preamp on here. And it actually lets me kind of distort it and add harmonics to the input if I wanted to. And those are both really great preamp modules. I believe we also have other ones that you can get from the Allen Heath store. There's it's like D-Pack, you know, Dyne 8 and all this other stuff. We have lots of plugins and processing units that you can get and just like unlock on the console in addition to everything that comes stock.
Great.
So I can go over to filter. We have just its own like page, so you can see both the high pass and the low pass filter, and you can change the slope of the high pass filter, which like I'm still not sure why some manufacturers don't do this. Like, at least give me the option to change it,
Nice.
rather than just being stuck. So that's all great. And then we have a gate, and we have our sidechain source, and we can also check out our filters here, and we can adjust all the normal parameters of a gate.
Sure.
But also on our dynamics processing, we have a 10-second histogram, which will let us know, hey, for the last 10 seconds, this is what's been happening. So if I adjust my threshold, and you'll see it get lesser. Or it won't, because I can't get the gate to let go. But let's see here. How did I do this the other day? Maybe I'm sure I probably need to have signal running through this at some point.
Oh, sure.
Let's see here. See if I can get that. There you go, signal generators. I can only send outputs. Okay, well, we won't worry about that right now. But regardless, it's a 10-second histogram. We also have it on our SQ, I know for sure, and I think our Q series as well, and our DLive. So then we have our first insert point. So you may want to send this to either our Dyne 8 plugin, or perhaps you want to send it to some outboard gear, or you want to send it to a camera, or any number of reasons you want to be able to send it out and possibly give a return. Then we have our parametric. Then we have our compressor, which will obviously look a lot like the gate, but it's not the gate. Then we have our second insert point. Skip right over that. And then we have our delay. So whenever you go into a delay page, we're seeing the delay for everything. So this will actually allow us to kind of time align, like for instance, okay, so you're a drummer. So if we wanted to time align the drum kit to the overheads, we would do that here. We'd delay the kick, and the snare and everything that came before the overheads to the overheads. And we can do that. And I really recommend playing with time alignment, because it can end up adding so much without you realizing it.
That's awesome.
So essentially, so we've got this bank, and we have this processing section where you're really seeing, okay, what am I doing to this individual channel? And I can go through easily and quickly. And even if I'm changing, let's say I'm looking at my parametric, it's easy for me to just select my channels that I want to see, like, okay, well, what's this EQ look like? Or what does this look like?
Very cool.
And we've got our routing, which is going to be kind of like a bird's eye view to our DCAs, any direct outs we have. This is a little stark over here because I'm not sending it anyplace. I'm not staring it into a stereo matrix. I'm not sending it a little bit to the main, but I have it off. If I turn it on, you can see it get really pink. I have it off because I had it going to a subgroup instead, and then from the subgroup to the mains. I've also got my effects on here, and it'll tell me where I'm sending those. And again, it's just like this really nice, here's my Auxes. So if I wanted to see, okay, I have this bass, that's what I have selected. And I want to see, okay, well, how much of this is getting out? Like, where is it going? This is a great place for me to just quickly see, okay, well, what's happening in my effects or my stereo Auxes or in my groups. Like right now I've got it. You can see that I have it on in my kick bass group. All right. So then I've got my IO. So this is the patch bay. This is where I can do all the patching. Here on the first one, it's outputs. And it's always important when you're patching anything to make sure you know what you're actually looking at. So right now I'm looking at my mix outputs into, or rather out of my local outputs. So right now, you can see I have my broadcast left, right being patched out of my local output 12 and 13 or 11 and 12, just so I can put it into my A10 mini. If I wanted to do my direct outputs through my local, or maybe I wanted to do through one of my IO ports that I mentioned, maybe I have a Dante card in the back. So I want to take all of my rack effects and I want to send them out my Dante card for whatever reason, or I want to do my mix outs. I want to take them and send them out through my Dante. Or maybe I want to send them out through my USB recording, because you can do 2-track recording through the 2 USB ports we actually have on this. And then I can go to inputs. I can patch my inputs. And what's cool is, so like when I'm clicking on this, it's not patching. you have to hold this little patch key right here, and it'll say patch mode. And then I can, let me go to some inputs that don't matter before I do this. Okay, I can hold patch and just go whoop, and then let go, and now they are patched, and I don't have to sit here and worry I'm accidentally clicking on it. It is a two-handed job, but I prefer that just in case, because I can't think of anything worse to do accidentally than repatching something. And the same, so I can do input channels, and I have to decide, okay, well, where are they coming from? Either through my 2 IO ports, over S-Link, which is a special Ethernet port we have on the back that connects us to pretty much all of our gear, or again, that kind of USB outs. Then we have tie lines. Now, are you guys on the call familiar with tie lines, or know what they are, or have used tie lines? So tie lines, at least in the sense that we're using them, are basically ways to subvert all of the processing that's happening on the board and just sending audio someplace. So for instance, we believe we have 128 tie lines. And so maybe I've got 100 channels coming in from someplace. Maybe we'll just keep using Dante. Maybe I have 100 channels coming in through Dante, but I don't want to actually use any processing on the board. Like they're totally fine. I want to do something else with them. I can assign them. So maybe let's say they're coming in from IO port 1, and I want to send them out through S-Link to some of our gear, or to IO port 2. Like maybe that'll be SoundGrid. So I want to just go straight from Dante into SoundGrid, and I don't want to have to like use any of my console's processing power. I can use tie lines to just say, all right, well, just shoot them from Dante over from this card to that card. Don't touch anything else. And so it's a kind of a way to almost like change protocol if you want, or to send audio someplace again without taking away anything from the board. So I can use tie lines and still have 64 channels of processing here on the console, and it doesn't affect anything. I can literally throw things wherever. And so tie lines are a secret magical tool that not enough people use. And then we have virtual soundcheck, which is a really quick way to say, maybe I'm doing soundcheck, or there's a rehearsal, and I have, I'm using Dante, and I've got Tracks Live set up, and I want to do a multi-track recording. I can have a virtual soundcheck going where I've patched it so that's all going out of one set of Dante channels into my computer, and it will record as a multi-track all of these inputs. And then I can hit virtual.
Whoa. Is it supposed to be muted?
Sorry. Am I back now? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. It's because I hit virtual soundcheck.
Yeah.
I should have known better. That's serves me right. Okay.
Powerful.
So when I hit virtual soundcheck, it takes all of those outputs and turns them into inputs. And so I can hit play on my computer, and now I don't have to worry about trying to do a bunch of weird repatching. It's like literally I only have one button I have to worry about, and now I can have a virtual band playing, so I can continue working on the show file and building my scenes together without the band actually being there. So
nice.
That's what's over there. Then we've got our ganging, which is a way to like group channels together. And so you've got 16 ganging options. So I use them, for instance, like, let's see here. I got I have a Leslie bottom and a Leslie top. So I will select those. I've selected them. There, a little yellow highlighting ring goes around them. And I can pick which attributes I want them to be tied to. So maybe I want their trim and their filter and their gate and their compressor and their delay to all match, but I don't want their pan or their routing to be the same. So I'll leave those unselected. Then I can hit apply. And when I hit, let me do just I'm doing just fader right now. So I will hit apply. And then when I go this one, when when I go to my Leslie top and bottom, now these faders are kind of stuck together.
Nice.
It lets me control it kind of, I mean, literally just gang them together. And I dictate like, hey, this is what I want to actually gang.
Very cool.
So then we've got our full meters page, and we can look at also our effects, our different mixes, if our users are adding particular meters, and an RTA, a 31 band RTA. Then we've got our effects engines, and we've got 12 of them that we can use. And depending on how you've set up your bus configuration, you can do those things different. Sorry, guys, we're not looking at the meters as much. And so we've got so many great effects. It's really just best if you just go and play with them if you ever get a chance. And so I can set those up, have fun with them. And there's a front and a back version. So I can just click on them to view what the effects panel is doing. This is a chorus. Let's go look and see what other weird stuff we've got. I'll hit library, and I've got this full stuff. So I got, let's see, I got a chorus, a flange, a phaser.
Nice.
Stereo tap delay. Symphonic strings, interesting. I can hit recall, and now I've got this of like effects module, this kind of this rack unit, if you will, in there, and I can play with it. And there's usually a back panel to kind of let you know where things are routing, and to let you change it if you needed to. Then we've got our scenes, which I mean are really like a whole thing by itself, but scenes can be used to change events, or users maybe like from concert to show, or from service to service, or from user to user. But really it lets you get so granular. If I hit recall filter, I can decide exactly what I want to actually be recalled when I select it. Cool. So it might be everything. I want the whole board to change, and I can go through and select everything. But maybe I don't. Maybe I only want it to change my drums, the members of my drum VCA. So I can just select that, save it, call it, drum DCA change, something like that. And then everything else will stay the same. And the only thing that gets changed or recalled is my drum DCA members, not my level, not my mute, like literally nothing else. And that's like super powerful, because you can do such tiny movements or such gigantic movements depending on what you'd like to do with it. We also got update, which allows you to make changes to something you're currently working on without having to like build from scratch. Yay. And you can build a cue list. And we have global safes to say, hey, don't break these. So I've got like soft keys selected, so no matter what's happening in the scenes, my soft keys always remain the same. Cool. Alrighty. Then we've got setup, which the settings are like the fun part of any technology. Whenever I get something new, I'm like, all right, let's go poke through the settings and see what I can break. But we can change the control. We can do our strip assign. Again, so we can change exactly what's happening on the faders. We can change our soft key assignment. So I'll just hit like soft 11. And I have all of these different options. Like maybe I have a level down and a level up, because I just want to make like really, really tiny movements with one click at a time. Or I want to do a PAFL clear, like no matter what I have, soloed, I can just clear that. Or I want to do I want to open up my talkback. I could do something like that. And I can do all sorts of stuff. Then I've got like surface preferences. I can change my DCA spills or my custom rotary assignments that I kind of showed you over here earlier. I can change what those do on both the left and the right screen. Then we can change our audio and our config and do all this other good stuff. Mute groups assignments, our signal generators, and our controllers, which they're like totally out of camera shot right now. But basically, see if I'm kind of in the shot here. Yeah. They're little IP controllers. Ooh, actually, I lied. I think I set one over here. Hold on.
Cool. Your setup is so cool. Like going back and forth and just, oh my goodness. Amazing.
So I've got this IP controller. This is the IP6. Nice. We also have an IP1, which is like a single one of these knobs. And then an IP8, which has motorized faders on it. Nice. But I can program these buttons and knobs to do whatever I want. So if I switch back over here and I go to IP6, you'll find that mine is already, it should be connected. Let Let's see if I unplug it and plug it back in. I've had to unplug a lot of stuff to get everything talking to each other. Oh, you know what? I don't have my Avantis in the network. So give me just 1 second.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I want to know how to cut to different camera screens and shots. Oh, it's so cool.
Alrighty. So now, if I hit this, come on. I'm having network problems. I'm still on this call, right? Yeah. You can hear me, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I networks are just.
Oh yeah, I do know that.
Okay, sorry. Pardon
no
the
problem.
network problems. It's a story of my life.
Yeah, for sure.
I can go in here and essentially like program what I want each one of these buttons to do. So I'm in an IP6 one that I have plugged in, but apparently not as much as I think I do. And I can just click on a button and I can decide, well, what do I want this function to actually be?
Mm-hmm.
So this is lower keystrip trend. And maybe I want to mute a channel, and I can hit mute, and it's like, okay, well, what kind of channel would you like to mute? I can do a DCA, I can do a mono effect send, I can do a stereo IEM that I wanted to mute easily. It's almost like I could treat this IP6 as like a sidecar with like a ton of soft keys that I could use for any number of reasons. So discard that. All that to say, nice. The IP controllers are like, I designed them to do a lot of like, just like just IP6s and IP8s to do sidecar stuff. If I wanted to, some extra thingies, like my CTI 1500 has less physical faders on it, but I still want lots of faders. I can have an IP8 with motorized faders and just say, okay, well, I want this to be my effects masters, and I want this to be some subgroups, just so that they're always like right next to me. And then just to kind of wrap it up, it's not fun for anybody else but me, but we've got simulators for them to make sure that the programming is right, which I like. And then we've got the utility, which is like our users, our memory, our logs, and all that other good stuff, the USB audio.
Very cool.
So it does many things.
Yes.
And obviously this was like a speed round of stuff the Avantis does. But I enjoy it. For me, it's really easy to use, and it's very intuitive, and I don't have to think too hard about it, which is what I like. I've got the horsepower that I want, just like in Dlife, but again, the setup is just a little bit easier. So
right. And there's so much control over every little
and I didn't even like get into custom control, but we have an application where you can design your own apps for your Android devices, your iOS devices, or your desktop computers or laptops, and you can design those like to be really branded and basically do just like the programming of whatever you want, like you would an IP controller. Like I want a fader and I want meters here. Let's do some great imagery. Let's give them some mute buttons. Let's do some automatic mic mixing. I mean, so much stuff. And yeah, I feel like I went on several tangents here, and I'm sorry. It's
no, it's great.
When you like it, when you like something, and I just like love audio stuff, and it feels like I have not gotten to do enough of it, oddly enough.
For sure.
Lately. So when somebody's like, here, free reign, just talk about it. It's like,
totally,
okay, you're gonna regret that.
No, I love it, the excitement, because it makes me excited about it, and and also thinking about being back out there one of these days.
Yes, we will get there soon.
I hope so.
But we will get there soon.
Do you have any music that you could play with, or is that kind of a whole other thing? Would it need to be live at the moment?
Oh, to like through the console?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can. Can you give me a second to
Yeah,
kind
of
of
course.
get it set up and going? All right,
Yeah,
I'll
for
stop
sure.
my video so you don't have to stare at me doing it, but
Oh yeah, no. It's
be
totally
right
cool.
back.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Put it in the chat. I'm also going to link her socials in the group. Let's see. Here's Pro Sound Web. And nice. Aha. The Believe in Music Week found, so it'll be Thursday. Let's see. Find 2 p.m. Nice. Ecosystem Mini Masterclass. And then Friday, 11 a.m. System setup. Very, very cool. Samantha. Instagram. There you are, Ryan.
Hi.
Like, come on and talk to me.
I had to go change my laundry. I'm sorry.
I love it. What are you
I'm eating
eating?
crackers.
What kind?
You'll like these. They're actually vegan cheddar.
Really?
Vegan white cheddar
Yay.
crackers. You should try some.
I'm going to.
Sorry, lectures and stuff make me hungry.
Same. Oh,
I'm
same.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, it's the best thing ever. I do the same thing. I think I've already gone through like 3 bars of chocolate today. It's not pretty.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Oh.
Just how it is. I learned better with goldfish, you know?
Nice.
I also fixed my networking problem while I was down there. So
Oh, nice.
I had it plugged into the wrong port, so that was on me.
Well,
it happens. That's all good.
Yeah.
Were there any questions or anybody requests for me to go away?
No, of course not. I was just posting links to where people can find you, and I found the times for next week for Believe in Music.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I have some stuff going through.
Awesome.
I will go back over here just for completion's sake. I will show you guys this. This IP controller. So if I open it up and I go to setup, let me bring this mic a little closer to my face. There we go. So I can go to my IP6. Yep, great. Click advanced.
Nice.
So now I can sit here and say, okay, well, I want my first fader to be, let's do a pan for channel 1. That's fine. And let's do my first one. Let's see. Oh, you know what might be faster is the quick setup. If I just do, and you can see as I'm dragging things in, channels are popping up on here. Cool. And I have 6 different layers of things. And so I just am able to quickly mute and unmute things, or change the levels. I think you can read that. I'm like in the weird spot between my computer and way over here. And so I can quickly mute channels, or unmute them and change the levels, or PAFL them. So, all right. Awesome. To say that I did that, I have done it.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get some noise in here, shall we? Okay, so I've patched it. I've got faders. I've got signal, actually, as you can see. And let's see, it's going to have to go. I'm going to have to be really careful with this because it's going into my ATEM, the same as my broadcast mic. So I believe I have that being sent to, and we're figuring this out in real time with me.
Awesome.
Where are you hiding? Okay, so I have a broadcast stereo aux, and that's patched to 11 and 12 on the output of this. So that means I need to hit mix, and I'm not going to be able to hear this. So if I hit, I bet if I hit room, you'll be able to.
Yes.
You can hear stuff now.
Yep.
I need to get this so I can hear it also, but that's not going to happen. So we'll just make noise, and that will be, there's some bass.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
And I've got the setup kind of interestingly. So I've got tracks live running on my MacBook behind me.
Oh, cool.
And then I have that hooked up with USB over to my SQ, which you can barely see in the corner of my video feed. I have it hooked up with USB. And then I'm just using S-Link from that console to my Avantis, just using tie lines on the SQ. So nothing is actually happening on my SQ into my Avantis. So then I'm able to have all of these, all this signal, basically doing these multi-tracks easily with USB. Not everybody, of course, just has an SQ5 sitting someplace, but I do. So
that's awesome.
All right. So yeah, let's see. Here we've got some Leslie's. And again, I have no idea what level this is coming in at. Like,
you can turn up. Yeah.
Okay, on Zoom I can see the little like microphone like moving a little bit, but that's it. So I'm glad you're liking it. Oh, here's some horns, unless they just stopped playing.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So this was actually the tracks I did for the quick mix for Allen Heath, the video that we did with Michael Bangs and Willa Snow, who if you don't know Willa, you should also get to know Willa. She's great. With her and Drew Thornton, who's Billie Eilish's front of house engineer. We had a ton of great people on there.
Amazing.
So there's that. I'm gonna put just a little bit of everything in here.
Cool.
Let me know if it's too hot.
Sure.
Because it'll start distorting. Very cautiously. This is all getting summed, so you have to be careful to not blow anything out.
Nice.
If he says a bad word, I'm not responsible for it. Let's see, we've got like some percussion. How are the drums in level?
Drums are good. Let's see.
Yeah, mix for us.
Yeah. I could hear the vocals a little bit more. Like
double cherry pie.
Nice
More?
voice.
More?
No, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, she
We got some electric guitars. Like, so when I'm normally doing like just mixes in general, I always start with if I'm getting to know the song, like when we did the quick mix, I'm usually like much faster to start throwing in stuff so I can hear what's actually happening. But I will typically start with obviously just the kick. This has a kick in and a kick out. Wrong one. There we go. A kick in and a kick out, and I'm trying to balance those, and finding like, okay, what does that sound like?
Right.
What does this sound like? And as I recall, I'm pretty sure I did a kick out forward. The kick out is where all that like woof and that boom is, but the kick in has all the punch. And so I like to separate those. This multi-track already had them separated, of course, but even when I'm setting it up, I try to separate those because then I can really have more control over how much punch and how much boom, basically, for a lack of better phrase, is in the mix.
Nice.
And then, slowly building on, snare top and snare bottom. The bottom is where the crack is. But the top is where that kind of 250, that kind of warmth is. I like my rack. I ended up really like my toms.
Nice.
Hot, I've noticed in my mixing. And then an overhead. And adding in some bass. And I'll even, it's hiding under the screen, but I have my group set up to where I have my kick and my bass on their own group processing, their own subgroup, so that I can, and they'll also usually be on their own DCA. So I can lock in that relationship between the kick and the bass, and I don't have to try to keep that while I'm doing other stuff. I'm retaining that relationship.
Nice.
But there's lots of. Is there anything in particular you'd like to hear or see? I'm flying deaf here.
Yeah, no. No, just it's super fun to see it, with the music and going. That bass though, it's so groovy.
Yeah, that was a great bass player. And they're really digging in. Like they're not being shy at all. But I love a horn section and some good backup vocalists. So I know approximately where these faders landed, and that's kind of where I'm putting them.
That's incredible.
It's like muscle memory. It's not anywhere close to exact, but
sure. Much time to sit and think about mine.
We should do another one at some point. Make sure you can hear me okay. All right.
Yes.
We should do another one,
Thank you.
like a mix related thing at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I have get back to me. I have these consoles all of the time, so it would be fun to get everybody like the same multi-tracks and just kind of do different stuff, or let's try this, or let's listen to it here and there. We should totally do. I think it would be fun.
That would be so much fun. Just, let me know if you have some set tracks too that we could send to the group.
Then Telefunken has 4 seasons of songs that you can download for free. And there's another website as well. But yeah, definitely, we could totally do that. And I'll also set up. I have 2 near field monitors on stands behind my Dlife, because that's what I was last mixing in this room. But I'm not on that, so obviously no,
of course.
that would be the one of course it wouldn't be on the one I was showing. But so I can listen while we're doing this at the same time.
Yeah, that would be so much fun.
But yeah, I think that would be really neat.
I think so too.
When we're in person, maybe we can schedule a show or whatever, I don't know what you'd call it, just a console playtime with your group in Seattle. I know we have dealers and reps in your area, and we can get a bunch of gear in and just, I'll just let them know, hey, I'm showing up and my friends are coming and we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And
Rad.
we can play, you guys can touch stuff, because that's where the real fun is.
Definitely.
Like, this is fine. This is okay for right now, but there's nothing like touching the stuff.
Yeah. That would be amazing. I mean, I know. But yeah, that just sounds incredible. Can't wait. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I do have a question about, as far as the console, is there like any kind of plan to get a completely virtual console going as far as mixing, you know?
Man, you were not the first person to ask me about that recently.
Hmm.
Like a way to like literally mix on a computer, like not kind of like Pro Tools, but not Pro Tools.
Right, but with an actual like the board represented, you know, Allen and Heath.
Yeah, it'd
like,
have to have like a digital interface that's
exactly
and the outs, but all of the it's all changing. The closest I can think of is Waves's Motion LV1, but that's not quite it.
Right.
So as far as are we working on it right this second, not to my knowledge, but that doesn't mean it's not like,
sure.
I mean, part of my job is helping give them ideas and steer them into how we in the US would use their products.
Yeah.
So that is something that I'm keeping in mind, because again, you're not the first person to ask, is like,
Nice.
if we did do this, like what would it look like? If you didn't have a console with you at all,
right,
but you had an interface like block,
like
could you do this? Like, is this a possibility?
Exactly.
Could it not be Pro Tools? Yeah, I will definitely push it along.
Nice.
And also, if anybody listening or watching either wants to do some new stuff with Allen Heath or is having some trouble, we're very, very active on our Allen and Heath community forums, which is like, I believe, community.allen-heath.com.
Okay.
You can post like bugs that you may find, or feature requests in there, and we add them to the lists for our next firmware updates or stuff, especially when people are asking for lots of things. So awesome. We do actually listen.
Yay.
We actually do this thing.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I can't wait for mixing, and hopefully we can all get together this year.
I'm planning on it, so we will, mark my words here on video.
Yeah,
we're gonna do this. So
love it. I'm excited. Thank you so much for your time and for putting all of this together and you know, presenting to the group, and for everything that you're doing. Does anyone have any questions? Let me go to Facebook.
Yeah, I saw there was.
Oh, there we go.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah, we're just
sign up for NAMM. It's free.
Yep,
it's gonna be awesome. I also have on my Instagram, I've got like a link tree or something in my profile. It's got lots of my stuff in there for articles and videos and etc. That they're all up there.
Awesome. Yay. Well, let's see. If anything does come up, I can just forward that
I can
to
answer
you.
them also on Facebook. And I'm on Facebook. I'm in the group. So you guys are welcome to add me. Also ding me a message, and because I'm not tooting my own horn, but I get a lot of randos adding me now, and so you have to like tell me, hey, I'm not just some rando.
Gotcha.
I saw you told me to message you, here we are, and then I will happily add you.
Awesome. Okay, great.
Yeah. Awesome. If you guys have any questions, or you want to see some more stuff, I'm here as a resource, so please never hesitate to reach out. I love teaching and getting to know everybody, especially people who are thirsty for knowledge. So never be afraid to ask questions. And I'm certainly somebody you never have to be afraid about confronting. Or asking questions too. So
awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yay. Awesome. So let's see. Oh, nice. Perfect timing. And I will email you soon. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.